This is Comic Picks by the Glick.
Yeah, I'm your host, Jason Glick.
Hey, Jason Glick, what's going on?
Hey, John. Well, we're going back to something that we don't normally talk a whole lot about on the show, and that's like DC event series.
DC.
Yeah,
What does DC stand for? Oh, never mind. You mean the other company? Yeah,
the
we
company
know.
that is not Marvel that publishes comics still publishes comics, as they told us
Yes,
last year.
yes. So what series from DC are we going to be talking about this time?
Well, it's like this is like their last major event series. This would be Death Metal or Dark Knights Death Metal, the follow up to Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo's best-selling event series from a couple of years back, which longtime readers will recall that I was not quite as big on as a lot of other people were, because while I appreciated like their attempts to like go really big and even work in like the certain Vertigo elements to the event series, Snyder has a big weakness whenever he tries to go big and all, and that's basically when he's trying to build up his characters and like it's like they remote him, and then basically reveals that nope, everything they were doing was just like not good. It was like in the service of like what the bad guys were up to and all, and that kind of happened a whole lot like over the course of the original Dark Knight's Metal series. It's like just whenever the heroes were looking like where they're trying to like get one over on the bad guys. Nope. It's like they were kind of screwed and all. It's like it was just like it wasn't until the very end that they were able to like put one over on on Barbados and like the Batman Who Laughs. It's like that they were able to win. Mainly because the plot demanded they win at the end of this 6-issue series. So there you go. But that was only the start of things, because after Dark Knight's Metal I kicked off or like ended, that's when Snyder took over Justice League and started writing that himself, and started setting up an even bigger story. Basically, after the destruction of the Source Wall, at the end of the end of Dark Knight's Metal, well, it's like that released a like a piece of energy known as the totality, which is basically like some knowledge of like the universe. It's like, and yeah, I could just like get into detail. It's basically but Snyder and his buddy James Tynion Fourth's supporting role run on Justice League was all about like setting up the core ideas of justice versus doom. Basically, like the good guys, Justice League, setting up the idea that it's like everyone's like it's like everyone's entitled like to justice and all. It's like you got to like live up to your best ideas and all. And then you got Lex Luthor and his like Legion of Doom on the other side, basically saying, yeah, you know what? No one's gonna care about that. It's everyone for themselves. You just gotta grab what you can while you've got the chance. And this led to Luthor siding with the imprisoned creator of the DC multiverse on Perpetua to like create a version of this multiverse that was cascading towards doom. And I think that and for the most part, I think Snyder's Justice League run, well, it was uneven, like for lack of a better term, because his whole feeling of like, oh, it's like we're just trying to like go bigger and all with each successive arc, and also his some propensity to just kind of like nope, any kind of struggle and all, because that's really what I want to see in my comic stories. Like even when the good guys are up against ultimate evil, I want to know that ultimate evil is actually struggling, that they're actually kind of that they're facing problems, that they're actually having to work in order to defeat the good guys. And that wasn't really well articulated over the course of his Justice League run, especially at the end when it's like when in his final volume of his Justice League run, the Justice Doom War. Well, it looked like the good guys were like all set for a win when it's like when it suddenly revealed that, oh wait, the multiverse actually voted towards Doom and Perpetua wins. Ha ha! Game over, everyone. It's like, oh, except for this last ditch effort that the Phantom Stranger has cooked up to let everyone like go through this door in order to like risk everything on this last gambit, which is basically a big old tease towards like, hey, you know what? You want to know how the final between Justice and Doom turns out, well, read Dark Knights, death metal. That's what we got here. And yeah, I didn't need any further prompting in order to read this series because, it's like DC has always had kind of a tough, it's like way to show you what is the narrative for the DC universe. It's like as it's propelled through these like various events. Marvel has done this like really well for a really long time, but I think that in tying Snyder's Justice League run directly to death metal, it's like it really kind of kneecapped that final volume because, hey, it's like okay, I like Snyder's work generally, and I like it even more when he's working with Greg Capullo, but like to just like say like, hey, you know what? You want to know how this Justice League run is really going to turn out? Go read death metal. Yeah, it's like I didn't need that, but here we are anyway, and here we are with death metal itself. It's basically starts off with it's like with Sergeant Rock talking to you, telling you about like how things are and how it's like and what the stakes are before I jumping over to show you that this is another dystopian version of the DCU where the Batman who laughs is running things like while Perpetua murders the last resisting universes. It's like in the DC multiverse in order to turn it fully towards Doom. It's like and then allow her to assert her version of a multiverse where all its inhabitants are apex predators. It's like in order to show her creators that she was right after all. But it's like you got the Batman who laughs, who is just like running the DCU now. It's like and he's like lording over like Wonder Woman. It's like Harley Quinn. It's like Aquaman. It's like all these other people who are like representing aspects of the DCU. It's like, and once you know it, like this is actually this series. It's actually unique in the sense that it's an event series that is more focused around Wonder Woman than it is around Superman or Batman. Yeah, it's like the Dark Knight and the Man of Steel do get their big moments in this series. It's like, yeah, it's kind of surprised. It's always kind of fun when you see that, hey, it's like Batman shows up. It's like in the Dark Knight, in the Batman Who Laughs backyard with and he's wearing a Black Lantern ring, and he's like sending all these like undead soldiers, including Jonah Hex, like after him. Well, it's like that's kind of like what I appreciate about this series more than anything else. It's like the fact that Snyder and Capullo have basically labeled this series an anti-crisis, where previous DC crises have tried to are a bit more reductive in the sense that like they're taking out the parts of the DCU that don't work. Well, death metal is all about just like saying that everything of the DC universe, like from its inception, has worked, and we're just gonna add even more crazy stuff from the beginning. It's like, yes, like this includes like whole lots of crazy ass Batman. Like we got like a Batman who is a T-Rex who when Wonder Woman says like, yeah, it's like, sure, you're a Batman, but can you throw like batarangs using your puny ass forearms? It's like, yes, I'm working on it. It's like, yeah, it's like I can get behind that idea. But then you've also got like the Batman who is a baby. So you got like Baphomet, like a Batman who is just like an evil sorcerer. Like it's like a Batman who is also a a giant like four-wheeler truck right out of like a Mad Max movie. It's like that kind of stuff. It's all about just like saying that everything about the DC universe has worked. It's like, and we're going to try and create a story that basically unifies everything about the DCU. That basically says like you can bring in everything, no matter how crazy, no matter how stupid. It's like we're gonna bring it all in. It's like, and I really like that that approach right here. It's like maybe I don't have like the deep and dying love of the DCU that I do of like the Marvel universe, but I appreciate the fact that it's like that this is a series that basically like thrives on the fact that it's like no aspect of the DCU is too silly or ridiculous in order to bring in. And that also works both ways in the sense that it's like I think it's kind of gross that like we're also bringing in like aspects of Watchmen to this series, which no, I'm never gonna like appreciate that. But it's like but seeing as how it's like like they're just like saying, hey, it's like we're gonna like introduce a version of Bruce Wayne who actually became Dr. Manhattan for a hot second before the Batman Who Laughs lobotomized him and then stored his body away so that he could use use it in order to become his final form as is in the Darkest Night. Well, it's like okay, it's like I guess if you're not gonna like if you're just like gonna like transition like quickly off from any Watchmen stuff into this take on the Batman, then okay, I guess I can tolerate that. But man, it's like I'm let's just say I'm glad to hear that like Alan Moore like recently signed a it's like a 6-figure deal for like a new collection of like prose and like a 5-volume like fantasy epic, because my God, the man deserves it. It's like the man deserves to find like great success after like DC has basically like assimilated and stolen like all of his stuff. Yes, like even the stuff included here as well. But getting back on topic, I think that death metal is more successful than metal in the sense that like it's willing to go crazier. It's like it's willing to go stranger. It's like than its original series, and it's like there's it's like and there are moments when when like Snyder just like like doesn't give in to his nope instincts as far as like his as far as the struggle goes. I mean, yeah, there are some points like when it's you look at it and go, oh man, like again, like it's like everyone just went and relived through like 3 different crises, and you're just basically saying that they just did this for nothing. God damn it, Snyder, why you got to do this to me? So yeah, that's frustrating. But then there are moments when the heroes basically realize that, hey, you know what? Like the Batman Who Laughs is channeling his energy through the earth. It's like, and we got to destroy it in order to stop him. And they do this, and it's like he's like, what? God damn it! No, everyone who is in my Earths, go and get them, because like Batman Who Laughs plan is to create this nightmare multiverse, and he's basically sending all these nightmare versions of the heroes to fight them. It's like after they destroy the Earth and stop his power, like his accumulation of powers. Like, and one of them is like the Last Son, like a version of Superman who didn't land on Earth, basically went through like several different like star systems, like slowly gathering powers like from their different suns. So yeah, it's like there's lots of like big crazy stuff going on in this series. I really like that, and as I said, I like Wonder Woman's like presence in this series, and this is that she is like the focus of the series, to her use of the like of the invisible chainsaw, like in the first issue, to her ascension. It's like as a goddess of truth. It's like in the final issue. I will admit that I would have liked. I think the final issue would have been more satisfying had we. It's had she managed to get the Batman Who Laughs to just suffer a bit more, just like admit that he was scared or something. But no, it's like I think that I think that the finale does work, and it's like as long as we don't see the Batman Who Laughs come back again, I'll just take solace in the fact that his screams, it's like were just like all he felt at the end. The fact that Wonder Woman just showed him, yeah, it's like who's the boss of you now? That's kind of what I can expect to see. But at the end, as I mentioned, like Dark Knight's death metal isn't destructive; it's constructive. It's like this isn't like, even though it may be like the end of like Snyder's contributions to the DCU for a while, like he sends it off, like like with a lot of stuff that's with a lot of stuff to draw on. It's like I haven't read the Infinite Frontier one shot that sets up like DCU's direction from here, But I'm reading the end of Death Metal. It's like it leaves with the feeling that no, this isn't an ending. Even though it's last we'll see of Snyder's contributions for a while, it's basically like a beginning. So it's kind of like if you want to know where the DCU is going from here, that hey, even if outside factors have indicated that hey, it's like Time Warner is like kind of like does not really see like DC as a big as anything other than like a simple content generator from here on out. Death Metal basically shows you basically like makes a strong case for saying that the DCU is not dead yet, and that there is a plan like for where they're going from here. So I can appreciate that, but I think that it's like it's trying to take like a good solid effort to like, convince me that like that the DCU is going somewhere from here on out. I mean, yeah, it's like we've got Infinite Frontier and all, but it's like it's been written by Joshua Williamson, who has not like really impressed me with his DC work. But if you've been reading Snyder and Capullo's work like from since their time on Batman, then yeah, I think you'll enjoy this. And Capullo does like excellent work here. I mean, like everything that he's been tasked with drawing. I mean, like his interpretations of like the major different crises that have been like that DCU has experienced up to this point, as well as the big final like showdown between like the DCU heroes and villains versus the Nightmare multiverse of villains. It's like this is like incredible stuff. It's like it's fantastic work, and it's like, and yeah, it's like I just think that yeah, it's like it's cool to see like Capullo is still like hitting new heights all these years after the fact that wow, this is the guy just do Spawn for a while. Huh. Well, that's it. It's like so yeah, it's like it's nice to see that like Capullo is still like bringing his A game to like big A-list like superhero stuff. So yeah, it's like Death Metal, not the greatest event series and all, but definitely like an improvement over the original Metal series. And if you're like invested in following the DCU's like direction, then yeah, you got to read this. However, it wouldn't be a big event series if we didn't have tie-ins. And my God, it's like there was a ton of stuff that was published like in connection with Death Metal. It's like, and God knows I wasn't going to read all of it. It's like, I mean, there's some like $8 or $9 like anthologies like series, which I thought like, wow, it's like I was gonna like buy all these like specific one shots. Like then no, it's like then yeah, like this would cost me like at least twice as much as I paid for the original, like for the hardcover itself. But I will say that I picked up Legends of the Dark Knights, Trinity Crisis, Multiverses End, Robin King, and Rise of the New God. Of these 5 one-shots, I will say that Trinity Crisis is the probably the most relevant of these, because is the only one that is solely written by Scott Snyder. Like it has art by Francis Manapul, and it basically takes place between issues 3 and 4 of the main series. It's basically the story of like of the heroes like after and they've broken Batman and the rest Superman and the rest of the heroes out of Apocalypse, and they're realizing that okay, in order to defeat Perpetua and the Dark Batman Who Laughs, we need to like get the energy from these crisis worlds they've created. So we've got to go and visit the worlds that were created by Crisis on Infinite Earths, Final Crisis, and Infinite Crisis. And this is at the same time while Swamp Thing, it's like Harley Quinn, Jonah Hex, and Jarro have to navigate the bowels of the Castle Bat as well. So it's like I can't say that it's like a necessary read, because I think that the gap between 3 and 4 is I guess still pretty well contained. But Trinity Crisis will offer you some interesting connective material. It's like even if there are some continuity issues in the sense that Jonah Hex dies twice between these stories. So there you go. But the art from Francis Monopool, it's like is so pretty, is like really impressive. It's like, and so it's a nice so it's worth checking out just for that. And then there's Legends of the Dark Knights, which basically tells you the stories of like, how like some of these Nightmare Batman like achieve their final forms, like how just how the Batman Who Laughs came up with the idea of stealing the body of the Batman who became Dr. Manhattan. It's like, and also other stories such as the origin of the Robin King, which is basically like a version of Batman who was just like psychotic from birth and basically killed his parents, like because he is like psychotic and evil, and basically embodies all the negative aspects of a Robin that you can imagine. It's like, and also there's like the Batman who became like 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 the Batman who inhabited Castle Bat, or like the Batman that is like Gotham City. It's like that has some like really strong art from Francesco Francavilla. It's like, and just some like disturbing storytelling from Frank Thierry. It's like as we get a Batman who realizes that I love Gotham more than anything else, even my son. It's like, and then there's like the origin of like Batmobeast in like the Batman who downloaded his brain into a Mad Max X like vehicle, like from Daniel Warren Johnson. Like, it's got 2 pages of like really strong art and all. And then there's Garth Ennis writing like the origin of a baby Batman, who we'll come back to in a second, which okay, it's like, it's kind of like, yeah, it's like I can understand like like Ennis writing a version of Batman who is just like you should be ashamed for liking it, and like who that just basically revels in like the stupidity of the concept. But there you go. It's like, and but Joel Jones at least does some decent art for like this 2-page story. And then there's Marguerite Bennett and Jamal Igle, who tell us the story of like how Batman put his brain into the dinosaur in his bat cave. It's like the B-Rex and all. And on one hand, it's like it's a good 2-page story for like such a crazy concept, but it is worth noting that that originally this story is supposed to be written by Warren Ellis with art by Jim Chung, that was pulled at Ellis's request repeatedly. It's like reportedly, it's like after word came out last year that that he had basically been like grooming and it's like and just like using his like entire female fan base as like a as an all-you-can-eat buffet of sexual favors, which is definitely reprehensible, but it's also like thoroughly disappointing in the sense that you realize that it's like I really wanted to expect better from him after everything he's written like over the years about these kind of things, but apparently he wasn't better than that, and that's thoroughly disappointing. It's also disappointing that it's like this story, it's like likely never be reprinted in full, even though it exists. It's like at some point. So, but moving on to more like likable stuff. Well, there's Multiverse's End, which basically tells you about what the like what like the multiverse like just Incarnate was doing, but it's more about John Stewart just trying to convince Owlman from Earth 3, or basically the evil Batman Thomas Wayne Jr. from Earth 3, to just like help us out, but Owlman basically being like, no, it's like I want some assurances. I want to know that I'm more important than the Batman Who Laughs, because I'm the real evil Batman, And as silly as that sounds, I think it offers further proof that that Tinian does better work when he's dealing with villains. It's like than he does with heroes, because his heroes stuff just kind of feels like more like standard issue more than anything else. But seeing him like give us like a nice little arc to it's like to Owlman, it's how he feels that, and how he eventually comes to realize that, yes, I am more important to this universe because I endure through multiple versions of my own death. It's like I kind of appreciated that and all. It's like it's a nice little story. It's like it has some good art from Juan Gideon. It's like, and it's what am I gonna say here? Oh, and it's even forgive. It's I think that the Owlman stuff is good enough that it allows you to forgive like Tinian from basically just like offering what is basically a recap, like like for the story to this point, or at least using like Stewart as a mouthpiece for like story to this point. Oh, and then there's the Robin King, which is probably like the one story here that I probably realized, yeah, man, it's like I don't think I needed to buy this, but I did anyway because I figured, well, what if this will give me some insight into this character? Like, what is the Robin King's motivation? Well, his motivation was explained in Legends of the Dark Knights. He's just like an evil Bruce Wayne who just was like evil at a very young age that allowed him to become like an evil Robin. And that's basically about it here. Most of the story here is basically like Peter Tomasi and Riley Rossmo just like indulging in their chance to just beat up and or kill lots of very different superheroes. And when you're saying when you're trying to like when your idea of like killing various superheroes like includes like sicking like different versions of Buddy Baker's or Animal Man's family on him to murder him and eat him, well, it's like okay, that's what you want, then more power to you. But I really can't get on board with that, So yeah, it's like the Roman King is more just like self-indulgence, like self-indulgent grimdark bullshit, and you don't need to read it if you've read like the character's origin in Legends of the Dark Knights. And then there's the last one that I read, which is Rise of the New God, which essentially like seems like it's going to offer like a cosmic perspective on like the Batman Who Laughs fight against Perpetua, but instead it introduces a new character, the Chronicler, who has come from the Omniverse to just find out what is it about this particular universe that has like caused that causes like so many like deaths and rebirths, so many crises. Like what is so special about this? And like well, it's like he gets to learn about all the different crises. He gets to resurrect Metron to hear about it, and it's fine. It's like I can't say that it was really essential and all. It's like or that it offered a lot of it's like interesting like perspective on like the series at this point. So it's like I mean it's fine. It's fine. You don't need to buy it. And in fact, I'd say, like I said, Trinity Crisis is like one of those probably the most relevant to the overall like story of death metal. But in Only versus End, at least offers like a solid like Owlman story, or at least interesting like evil person's perspective on this stuff. So and Legends of the Dark Knights at least gives you like the bare bones like story, like what Batman Who Laughs like planned to turn himself into Dr. Manhattan was, as well as like the you'll need to know this like business for the Robin King. So yeah, there's that. It's like in fact you probably really don't need to read any of these tie-ins. You can just read the main story, and there's also the fact that DC may just go and pull some bullshit like they did with Metal and just like reprint the most important of these one shots in softcover edition, which they did. I think would be a giant dick move, but oh well, like I can't really stop them from doing what they're doing. But as far as like buying death metal right now, yeah, it's like if you're invested in the ongoing narrative of the DC universe, then yeah, I'd say go ahead and do this. Also, like if you're a fan of like what Snyder and Capullo have been doing with the DCU, it's like up to this point. I think it's good. It's fun. It's crazy. And it's like, I like the fact that it's basically just like saying like, hey, like we're just going to take everything about the DCU that's crazy and we're going to like, invest it into this like one big story. And I can respect that. And also it's nice to see them like putting Wonder Woman like front and center, which is a refreshing change from, hey, it's always Batman or Superman, like when it comes to the DC Trinity and all. So yeah, it's
Sounds
cool.
Interesting.
Yeah. So John, it's like, what I'm going to talk about for next time?
What are we going to talk about next time, sir?
Well, this is like going to be like one of those weird years where it's like if we had been going to Fanime then we would not be releasing like the podcast like the following Wednesday. So it's a question of like, well, it's like, do we do it? Do we do like the Final podcast like next time, or the time after? So
It's a little unreal, really. There's a virtual Fanime going on, so
only $10.
yeah, yeah. So that's money well spent because
Yes,
I support the causes we all have for many years here. But yeah, so it sounds like that we might be doing a Hidden Treasures of manga.
I think that's what I'm leaning towards too, and like it's gonna be something that is very obscure. It's like something that I thought I'd imagine like if I told you that the creator of Prison School and Raw Hero actually did a gritty serious story about Daniel Johnson, the blues guitarist who repeatedly sold his soul to the devil at the crossroads. Well, yeah, he did do that, and like 4 volumes or like 2 volumes, collecting 4 volumes of the series, were actually published in English before it just stopped. So yeah, next time on talks about the Glick, it's Me and the Devil Blues. So yeah, it's Akira Hiramoto, serious like. Yeah.
Serious, like. All right, we'll catch you next time on Comp Picks by the Glick.
All right, laters.